Breck turns literal tons of food waste into mulch every ski season. We find out how. Phil Lindemann, Krystal, 93 News. First, at least 400 people in Summit County fell on seriously hard times last year, and thousands more were one bad break away.
So you're not alone. If you think you are, you're not alone.
That was Michelle Infante with the Family and Intercultural Resource Center, but that's not all they serve.
Seniors, individuals, and all in all, just folks who are needing some help to be able to get to a stable place.
The FERC gives emergency assistance through the Summit County Cares Fund, and that money goes straight to locals, like a 63-year-old woman facing unexpected surgery.
She had $500 to put towards this medical procedure, and the FERC was able to help her with $1,200 to be able to go to the doctor.
And help does not end with cash.
An assessment of the situation, what's going on, what led to this emergency, how stable were you before, what resources do you need to get you back to that stability.
Today is the biggest day of the year for the Summit County Cares campaign, which raised $53,000 last year and has a goal of $50,000 this year. Donate online at summitferc.org. A gas line caught fire near an apartment building in Avon this afternoon, forcing residents to evacuate as firefighters fought the blaze. The fire at Eagle Bend Apartments was quickly extinguished. No one was injured and no buildings were damaged. Xcel spent 2 hours repairing the line. Reportedly, a skid steer punctured it while working on playground equipment there. This week on the State of Summit, we look at findings from the HC3 waste study and get inside the kitchens of Breck Resort, where they feed hordes of hungry skiers.
Oftentimes hundreds of people getting fed at one time. If you can imagine all of that food production happening day after day.
That was Aaron Boyd, Food and Beverage Director at Breck. He oversees 4 locations with a gaggle of cafes, kitchens, and bars, serving tens of thousands this holiday.
Hard to put an exact number on it, too, in all honesty. I can tell you that it's firing at full force.
And what happens to literal tons of leftover food?
We had a 2-yard compactor that could hold up to 2,000 pounds of food scrap, which is wild when it's full.
Starting last year, those food scraps get sent to the Dillon landfill and turned into mulch. But for dozens of restaurants and thousands of condos, that is not the case. Jen Shank with High Country Conservation Center.
We found that about 20% of what's going in the landfill by weight is food waste.
That number comes from a waste study paid for by a $50,000 grant this summer when Shank and volunteers from places like Copper and A Basin got up to their elbows in trash. She says the food waste findings screamed of opportunity, and it starts with a free little white compost bin from HC3.
HC3 and Summit County government already have a free drop-off program.
For Boyd at Breck, turning food to mulch is in line with his employer's goal of zero net waste by 2030. Last year alone, Breck and Keystone collected 130 tons of food scraps.
In this county, there is a lot of people that are passionate about climate change and whatever they can do to play a role with sustainable practices.
Tune in again next Wednesday for the encore of our March 2019 Avalanche coverage when Peak 1 got a new run with the State of Summit on Krystal 93. In sports, the Avalanche play the Blackhawks tonight at 6, the Nuggets play the Magic at 7. And in local sports, brought to you by Wilderness Sports in Dillon, first race of the Up and Adam Nordic Series at Frisco Nordic Center was this morning on a skate ski course where Taylor McCreary was first overall, Jill Sorensen took second, and Chad Siegler was third as top man. Next race in the series is after the new year, January 8th. Phil Lindemann, Krystal, 93 News.